fashion, music, wellness.
And don't forget sex.
Mostly sex.
If it's trending, they'll be talking about it. Trend Radio is right here
And right now, I'm Anthony Vincent.
And I'm Elise.
And we always have something great to say.
Because it's us. So stay tuned.
You'll be glad you did. Good morning, New Jersey. Hello there, my beautiful hostess with the mostest, Elise.
Good morning.
And Big Al at the board.
Good morning, Al.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm fabulous, and guess what?
What?
In just a couple of days,
Yeah.
it's going to go boom, boom, boom.
What do you have gas again?
No,
Because
silly.
it is awful sitting on this side of the
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
the
Yeah,
console
Al,
with her when she has gas. Oh,
Al, you know it's me, right? Right, Al? It's not Anthony. Couldn't possibly be. Anyway, I just wanted to say Happy Independence Day, America, because this
that
coming
means happy
Tuesday...
4th of July.
This coming Tuesday is July 4th. Yes, July 4th, and it's going to be spectacular.
Well, Elise, we have some special guests today.
Oh, all of our guests are special, but these people...
These are the prettiest
They are pretty, but not only are they special, they do special things.
for special people.
For special people, absolutely. And that's what makes them so fabulous. Everybody, we'd like to welcome Artis here today. Kelly, Cheryl, and Barb are here from Artis. And we're so happy to have you guys with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for joining us. And you guys are with a company called Artis, which stands for...
Well, there's actually an acronym, so we can share that with you and the audience. The A is for ability to have a voice. R in Artis is for respecting and maintaining relationships. The T gives us treasuring each person's uniqueness. I is for integrity, and S is for success and recognition.
You know, Cheryl, I have to just say this. One of the commercials that we're going to be airing has your acronym. So I'm so happy that you actually said that.
Oh,
You know?
wonderful.
Yeah, that is. Anyway,
What actually is Artis?
I was going to ask that.
I know, I heard.
Artis is a senior living company. It's a building that we're going to be opening here locally. They're in several other states already, and a lot of plans for construction of new sites coming up. But it's all memory care. So it's a senior living community that is focused on dementia and different types of dementia and Alzheimer's residents.
That is just so awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I have to just say my grandmother and my mother both had dementia. And so I know, like firsthand, how difficult it is for each person, when each family member.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's so difficult. And I think what you guys are doing is so fabulous.
I think today everyone knows at least someone or has some type of
Yes.
experience
Memory
with...
issue, yeah.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, more and more, there's any time you talk to people, there's somebody in their family that's affected, or there's somebody close to them that's affected. There's all different types of progression of dementia. So the ambiguity is what's awful for people. They don't know what to expect. The progressions are different. So it's a lot of suspense for everybody. It can be very frustrating for the dementia patient themselves to be frustrated to know that they don't know things, that they're not as sharp, to feel that they have to cover it up. And there can be irritability. That can affect loved ones too if they're projecting or
absolutely.
taking out their frustration or agitation on their closest family members.
We have that right here in the studio.
Yeah, we have irritability with each other sometimes.
That does happen.
Yeah, my dad actually knew that he could not remember the name of the word for something, and that was very frustrating to him.
Yeah, that's very frustrating. I remember my grandmother was always so upset because I would ask her a question and she would look at me and she'd be confused. You know, and she'd have this little look on her face, and, you know, I'd be like, it's okay, Grandma, you know, and then she would tell me something that made no sense, and I would just kind of go with it. But, you know, it was very hard because as the disease progressed and as she was deeper and deeper, you know, we lost her. Basically, she was alive, but she wasn't my grandmother.
Yeah.
You know, and the same with my mother. But that's something that happens, and that's why I think the place that you guys are in and what you're doing is so amazing.
I think the one thing that really, one of the things that sets Artis apart is our whole community is geared toward this population. Every facet of it, from the way the building was designed to the activities, programs.
Now tell us about the way the building was designed. What is that about?
So we are a 64-suite community, but broken down into 4 neighborhoods of 16 residents each. Oh. So these small neighborhoods have a wonderful setup so that our folks feel very much at home.
So are there different levels with these different neighborhoods, if you will?
It is a blended community,
okay,
so that residents who are at an earlier stage, maybe with someone that's a little bit further along in their dementia, but they're all together for the folks that are a little bit more impaired to be with a group that may be more tuned in socially is sometimes a very beneficial thing.
Oh, I would imagine that.
They're also not married to their neighborhood. So if they have a friend in a different neighborhood, they can go and spend time with that person. They really have free reign to move around the building. Up, downstairs. We're going to be a 2-level building. So sometimes you can have issues because someone is frustrated with their environment, but they're going to have a lot of freedom here, a lot of grounds to walk on, obviously secured so that there are no safety issues. But in a lot of buildings that do not have a total dementia population, the dementia area is very small and there's a lot of frustration walking back and forth in the same area. We're here, they can enjoy the outside as well.
That is so important.
Elise and I have been passing by the building for the last year or so, and watching it come together, and really a beautiful building.
Yeah.
Now,
we'd like to thank Artis, a place to live and grow for seniors with cognitive disorders, where empowerment, pride, and fulfillment define memory care.
What I wanted to mention was you called it a community, you called it a residence, you called it a neighborhood.
Family.
Tell us about that. I'd never heard of an institution using these kind of words.
Which is amazing.
Right. Now, I just got smacked for using that word institution. And I know why.
Wait.
I know why.
I want to make sure everybody hears it.
We all heard it. We all heard it.
I use that word purposely because I know it's a bad word.
It's a home.
And I think that we have strived to really get away from that kind of speak. That we're really working very hard to have this population enjoy as dignified a life as is possible for them with their impairment. So very important, even just with the language, to present it in a very dignified, comfortable way so that we're a community and not a facility.
Yeah.
And our neighborhoods are neighborhoods and not wings.
Or units.
Yeah, or units.
yeah.
Exactly.
So I just want to say this. I can't imagine, because unfortunately both my mother and grandmother are deceased, but if they were alive, how wonderful would it be if they had the opportunity to be there, and then the opportunity for us to see them happy that way, instead of, unfortunately, where they had to be, because that was the choice.
Elise, just in the first 5 minutes when they talked about the neighborhood and
the community,
and
the family.
Yeah, it gave me a different feeling,
a different perspective.
On what the whole thing is about.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think,
myself included.
Yeah, these terminologies I do think make a difference in how people perceive, what you guys are doing.
And what you're offering for their loved one for the rest of their life, really.
Right. The language, it may seem like a very small consideration, but it really does speak to what the whole program is about.
You just said a mouthful. When it comes to someone that you love, there is no small consideration. That is like their life, and that is so important.
Absolutely.
And that gives people peace of mind.
Right. It's just as important to the family as it is to our resident.
Absolutely.
Having them know that their family member, their loved one, is in a safe and happy environment, and that, everyone in the building goal is to provide that for them.
So let me ask you this, because I remember that, when I would go and visit my family, sometimes they would be doing projects and artwork and different things. What do you do to keep their minds growing and keep them busy?
There's a couple things. The first is it's really important that the whole team, is well trained as far as approaching somebody with types of dementia and how to engage them, and what to expect, and how much stimulation they can handle. And then the other part of it is really knowing each resident. So before they even move into our home, we get as much information about them as possible. Likes, dislikes. We try to gauge their personality before and after their diagnosis. And so that when they move into their new home, the whole team is already kind of aware of what to expect, and how to personalize that, and how to build a plan of care then around that, the uniqueness of that person.
I think that when we were having one of our discussions, I think we were talking about somebody who, there was a man, he was, I believe, a firefighter.
Yes.
Yes, could you tell us that story?
Yes.
I love that.
So the whole philosophy of Artis, it starts on day one, even before when we're working with the families, but move-in day for that senior is really important. It's a big transition, and to celebrate that uniqueness. Move-in day is supposed to be very, very special and customized. And in one of our other communities, there was a retired fireman, and when he arrived at the home, the local fire department was there to greet him.
Every time you say that, I get chills.
I love that, yeah.
My eyes well up,
yeah.
And it makes me just feel so happy for that family, because they know at that point that
they made the right decision.
Yes.
Right.
Elise and I are big wussies.
You're in good company.
They know at that point that, oh my God, my dad is going to be happy. My grandpa is going to be happy. My husband is going to be happy.
Artis has really taken it to a different level, that we absolutely want to make sure the residents are happy, and we want to make sure, of course, that they're safe and well cared for. But they really stress the importance of making them feel useful and connected with the greater community. So this gentleman who was welcomed from the fire department made him feel connected to the fire department. It took him back to a time where his identity was really linked to his work as a firefighter. And I think you would find our programming very much in sync with that sentiment. We have another community that had a cooking and baking club, but they took it a little bit further. They started making little dog biscuits with a recipe.
Oh my God!
That they could take out to an animal shelter and feel successful in that way. So I think there are some wonderful expectations, really, that our communities will keep the residents engaged in that kind of meaningful way.
Since we have a family of other communities, we all can help each other with these ideas that have come across very well for families. And, we just came off of a sales meeting where everyone had the opportunity to share some of these experiences and what really worked and made families happy. The three of us combined have a lot of experience in healthcare, but I can say for myself, I've never been with a company that had these philosophies and these approaches. And sort of the approach is not how we can't do it, but why not? What can we do to make this happen for the family and the resident?
I love that.
I have not heard anyone say no to anything.
No.
It's always a yes.
We're asking a whole lot of questions, and just to piggyback on what Barb is sharing, it's very true. Where we put out a question, the answer really is, well, why not? Unless it's something that really is beyond the scope of our license, and there are certain things that a skilled nursing facility would need to address, like a feeding tube or any kind of mechanical breathing apparatus, things like that. But pretty much anything else we're talking about, the answer is why not? How can we make it happen?
It's crazy. It's really crazy.
Here's a question then. What about pets?
Well, the theory is that for residents to have pets, they need to be able to totally take care of them themselves.
Sure. So I wasn't actually suggesting that a resident would actually have a pet. I
More
actually
therapy dogs or
I was
or
thinking
the
that.
That's a definite.
100%. They can visit. We can.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They belong to the home, to the family.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the family can bring their pet in for their family member.
Absolutely.
100%.
I was wondering about that. Okay.
Absolutely.
So dogs and cats are welcome. Wow.
Why not?
Sure.
And I have a feeling if there was some other pet that was not a dog or cat, there would be a why not kind of answer.
I don't know about an alligator, but you know.
Miniature horse or ferret, why not?
So I was visiting my mother, and this was so funny. And unfortunately, it was the week she passed away. But while I was there, I walked past a room, and in the room, there was a cage on wheels that had a snake in it.
Oh, dear.
And I was thinking, wow, that's interesting. Like there was a snake.
Snakes are pretty cool.
It was in a cage. It was in a cage, a glass cage. You know, I was very happy. It was in a locked glass cage, locked, because I was like freaking out. Actually,
See, if that snake was a resident of Artis, it wouldn't be in a locked cage. It would be in a secure neighborhood.
that was great, Cheryl.
How many communities in the East, or are you national? Are there?
Oh no, nope. There's California. We're down in Boca. This is going to be the second one in New Jersey.
Wow.
So the other one
Oh,
is
really? Where's the other one?
it's in Evesham near Cherry Hill.
Sure. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I know exactly where it is.
That community, they were open. Their grand opening was a year ago. It was a year in March.
Wonderful.
So they're up and running, and it's phenomenal.
That is wonderful. You know, we should take a ride over there.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah,
that
we'll
would
check
be
it out.
great.
Yeah, we're gonna check that out.
Yeah.
Why not?
To see
Why
exactly,
not?
to see a
Exactly.
community that's up and running, and to
Sure.
be able to visit and see the neighborhoods and see the
Absolutely.
residents. Sure.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds wonderful.
And
We're
you-
gonna go there
you
as
know,
us.
even for us, it was a wonderful opportunity for us to visit our communities that are up and running. Because
Sure.
it's one thing to hear about something or to read about it, but really to see it up and running
In
was
motion,
just
yeah.
such a wonderful thing. Our dining services it's just beautiful. They're served in a very different way.
That's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask also. Tell us a little bit about the food and the meals that you'll be serving.
So we incorporate a Mediterranean heart and brain healthy diet into the menu items. So there certainly are foods that are very familiar to our residents, but they may put a little bit of a different twist on it by incorporating something a little more toward that Mediterranean diet, and fish is offered at each meal. And they make it a point to, have options for the residents.
Okay,
Yeah.
but let's just say there's, a resident that actually at this point really just can't choose, can't make up their mind.
Yeah, so it's as I said, I had the wonderful opportunity of seeing our dining services up and running in our Huntington Valley community, and they serve beautifully. They serve with a draped rolling cart through
Wow.
this dining room, and the food is served tableside, so the residents get to see the food, they get to smell it.
Oh, so then they can
and
actually
have
pick
recognition.
what they're okay.
Because you're very readily,
see.
a resident may hear chicken or salmon and not really be able to decide which is which or remember which is the one they like, but somehow when they see it and are able to
exactly. Well,
experience
sight
it
is
in a
very,
sensory
very
way.
exactly.
So they roll out the dishes.
Yes.
Which one
This
would
way
you
they
like?
can choose.
Exactly, and
Yes.
it's served beautifully to them
Because
right
that's
there,
something
tableside.
that's something that I think is so important, because I remember that. I remember it becomes confusing if you look at a menu and you're reading and sometimes you don't understand.
Right, just doesn't register.
And my grandmother couldn't do it.
Right.
And we had to choose. We would actually go to each meal to choose her meals with her because she couldn't do it. I love this.
Right. And
Wow.
But Elise has the same problem. When we go to lunch with guests, she can't figure out what she wants on the menu.
but I can figure out what I'm going to do in
You'll
about
have
a minute.
to join us at Artis for a meal at least.
Notice.
I was
notice.
fishing.
Wait a second.
Come on over.
Elise,
Did you notice?
not your
I got the invitation.
Yeah.
Because you're not being nice.
That's,
the girls can see it. You're not being nice. Play fair.
It's better to be right than nice, right? Is that
No, it's always better to be kind. than right.
Oh, that's okay. I knew it was something like that. I knew it was something like that.
You forget that you're supposed to be a kind, nice boy.
Yes, that's right.
So another thing that's going to be taken into consideration is the residents that are there and what their likes and dislikes are. So, some groups sway to a certain type of menu or types of foods. So they're certainly not going to serve food that maybe isn't anything that anyone there is going to want. I think in the profile that is done before they move in, there's a lot of questions about likes and dislikes. So, if we know that someone hates a certain thing or they're allergic to it, and
it's not going to be on that menu.
That's going to be taken into consideration, and people are going to be alerted that, Susie cannot eat fish.
Right.
It's going to cause a reaction. So we're going to know a lot of this information before they walk in the door.
The other thing, too, is the management team, the directors, will have monthly meetings with the residents. And they can give their input at any time, but structured monthly meetings about the community and their suggestions for improvements. So this is their home, this is their community. So the thought is not, they have a diagnosis of dementia, and so they shouldn't have input, or they wouldn't remember, or they don't know what they're talking about. That is absolutely 100% not what we're about. So to be able to have them be engaged and make suggestions. I know in one of the other communities, the dining room was set up with square tabletops of 4. They wanted to sit together. They asked to have the tables all extended to have one long table so that they could all sit with each other.
I love that.
Yeah.
You've got special type of
chefs.
Chefs? Is it a
Yes.
chef?
Tell us about your
Absolutely.
chefs. Yes.
So the Artis chefs, they're all well-versed as far as knowing our population, being able to be creative and host things for the families, following the resident suggestions as to what they can and cannot have. And there's some other specialties to it, too. A lot of times our seniors don't have very big appetites. So that the chef will be just as familiar with each person as far as knowing how to plate even.
So here's what I was going to say, because you were talking about the chefs and hosting parties. How does that go? Because birthdays must be outrageous. I remember.
just thinking about birthdays.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Birthday
anniversary.
parties and Mother's Day, Father's Day, all kinds of different Christmas, Hanukkah, different holidays.
We will celebrate anything there is to celebrate. So if there's a reason to throw a party, we will throw a party.
So then there's going to be a gala for New Year's Eve, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Birthdays, I think birthdays will be looked at really in a very individual way also. We're not looking to have the monthly birthday party to celebrate all the June birthdays, but really to make it individual, to
So
have that
each
person
day,
feel
whatever the
special
date is.
with a little cake, and be able to have the dining room team singing to them and share their cake with their people that they're eating with. So just like you would if you were going out to a restaurant. And I see we've touched on something, Elise.
I'm sorry, yeah.
It's okay. A memory perhaps of a birthday, or kind of thinking about how much that might mean to someone.
So my mother's favorite food, loved lobster, loved
Yeah.
it. So one day, and shrimp and any kind of shellfish. So one day, it was about, I guess, a month before her birthday, and I wasn't allowed to go. But I remember I wasn't allowed to go because at the time I was going through chemo, and
I see.
I wasn't allowed to be there.
Yeah.
And so I remember sending my kids with lobster and shrimp and crab legs and all kinds of different cheeses and cut up cucumbers and different things like that. And I remember sending that and getting pictures of how amazing that was.
And it meant a lot to her.
Oh my God. Well, yeah. I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing. So I love that you guys will be celebrating their lives and their moments and all of their holidays and
Right.
Remember, this is home, so that's what you would do at home. So we're trying to emulate what home is for them. This is their new home.
Do you have things like entertainment, whether it's a bingo party or someone coming
or
in?
musical guests or something like
didn't
that.
you know you were dressing up as Elvis, Anthony? You're first on the agenda.
You know what?
I've seen some bad Elvises, so maybe you can.
They get all hot and bothered by Elvis.
They love Elvis.
You don't have to tell
Do
him
they love
twice.
Elvis? Elvis?
They love. I know you
have Elvis.
I know you have an Elvis.
Yes,
I've
we do.
seen their Elvis.
You saw our Elvis.
Yeah,
We had dinner.
I have pictures of me with Elvis.
Yeah, we do actually have an Elvis.
I'm not sure why, but Elvis does seem to be a big hit
They get all
everywhere.
hot and bothered.
We have to do that. We have to bring Elvis.
It's a huge part of the program. We want them entertained and enjoying what they're doing. So, bingo, I'm sure we'll have bingo, but it's just going to be one thing on a list of all kinds
many
of
things.
things, physical activities and word games and things that just spark reminiscence and, discussions with each other about things they enjoyed in the past.
So once we know their history and what was important to them in their life, it gives us an opportunity to focus and keep them connected to the community. If someone was involved in theater or music, to be able to take them perhaps to a show or a concert, besides being in the building. So besides the community, there's a lot that's around. A lot of the people are local and, want to maybe continue with what they were doing prior to this time.
That is awesome. That is absolutely wonderful. What about books and games and things like that? So I'm not sure, what your setup is or anything like that, but do people donate books to you or... Well, because
we would welcome books being donated.
Because I know a lot of people that do that. They donate games and books and wonderful things like that. Cards, dolls.
Yeah,
dolls.
we would
Dolls
be
are-
delighted.
Yeah, we really want to partner with the surrounding community and be important to everyone around, because maybe they don't have a loved one right now who's experiencing this, but if they had one in they will. But if they had someone in the past and it touched them the way, your heart is touched by what you experienced, there's a lot of times in communities where local people, they come in and they just give their time.
That's what I think is wonderful. Just your time.
Yeah.
That is so great. That is something I'm definitely going to do.
We would.
That-
We're already
delighted.
getting. So we're doing the majority of our hiring for our team towards the end of the summer. But I'm already getting applications for people to be volunteers.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's great. People are getting
I'm
excited.
going to be there. And I'm going to actually also reach out to a lot of my friends that donate so much to different areas to donate to you as well. Because I know this is this one gets me every time. I can't even get through a conversation with you guys without crying. And that's the truth, because I miss my mom and my grandma, and they both had dementia.
Right.
So that's definitely a big cause for me.
I'm glad you mentioned book club when we were talking about activities. And a book club may not be something that people would think is sensible for this population.
Oh, I think it is.
I think the traditional book club probably wouldn't work so well, where people had to retain knowledge about a book and then come back, a few weeks later and be prepared to discuss it.
Yeah.
But, we tweak it. So we're going over a book, and the important thing to know about this population is they're living in the moment.
Right.
So we're talking about a book, we're maybe reading a few lines or an excerpt. We're talking about it right then and there, and that's the way they're able to enjoy and benefit from something like a book
What you
club.
said was huge, living in the moment. And that moment could be from a moment from now. It could be a moment from 10 years ago. It could be a moment from 50 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I remember saying to my grandmother, Grandma, who's the president of the United States? And she looked at me with the proudest look and a big smile and said, Lyndon B. Johnson.
Okay.
And I said, Grandma, he was president in 1965. And she said, that's right. You're so smart. And I said, Grandma, I was born in 1965. And she said, that's right. You're so smart. And that was the funniest thing, at the time to me.
Many years ago, when I first started out in this industry and was having my first experience in a dementia care center, they were playing some kind of a game. It may have been bingo, actually. And
Anthony's coming to play bingo, by the way.
Come on
I want
over.
to call the numbers.
A woman, she won. She was so excited, and I sort of was standing on the sidelines. She couldn't have been more thrilled. And about 10 minutes later, I was walking in the hallway, and I looked at her, and I remember saying, oh, Lois, it's so nice that you won bingo. And she said, I did. She had no recollection. But, it didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
No.
Because in that moment,
She
when
was happy.
she won, she couldn't have been happier. So, there may not be the same exact benefits that we're doing with a population with memory impairment, but there are different benefits, and
Sure.
they're wonderful, and it's okay that she didn't remember.
Yeah, because the moment that she had it
meant a lot to
was
her.
wonderful.
Yep,
and what was so
absolutely.
nice, regardless of anything, was what you got, the feeling that you got, and what you were able to see.
Absolutely.
You were able to see that joy.
Yep.
And that's a beautiful thing in itself.
It was a great lesson, though, because it really doesn't matter whether you're retaining it outside of that moment. It's the moments that matter, and if we build their day with enough of those things, they're really living a very fulfilled lifestyle.
Oh, see, I love that. I love that. And that's special, right, in itself.
Yeah.
Wow. We'd like to thank Artis, 60 years experience in the field of senior living care, focusing on helping each resident find meaning and joy every day with dignity.
You know what's going through my head right now?
Tell me.
Andrew Schrimzer.
Oh, Andy Scrimmager.
And you're right.
Oh, my God. Oh,
he
my God.
comes on every Christmas and
Oh, my
reads
God.
stories.
You know what we're going to do, right?
Yeah, that's what
You
I'm
know what we're
thinking.
doing.
We're doing
We're
that
doing
Christmas,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, we're
And-
coming by.
Oh,
we're coming by at
wonderful.
Christmas, and we're
Christmas.
bringing Andy. We're bringing our personal Santa Claus with us. He is our Santa Claus. Every single year since we've had our show, we have had him tell Christmas stories, and they're amazing, and it's wonderful.
Beautiful.
My favorite, he knows my favorite, is the silver harmonica. It's beautiful, and in the story, it happens to be about
His mother who had dementia.
Oh,
wow.
And
interesting.
that's what's so beautiful, and that's probably why it's my favorite as
Right,
well.
right, you connect to it.
because I totally connect to it, and it was about a silver harmonica that she wanted.
Years ago. And
When she was younger.
Yes.
And she was given that silver harmonica for Christmas one year after she already was so deep in this disease that but the moment that they gave it to her, she saw it and the tears, because she remembered that she wanted it. And she loved it. And every time, I can't even get through it. He reads it every year because I make him read this one every year.
Yeah.
He would love, he's going to come and he's going to record with us. And then we're going to come to you guys. Today, he's going to love
Excellent.
that.
It'd be wonderful.
And after dinner, and they're all sitting around the fireplace drinking hot cocoa.
Yes.
his
Or
mom-
cocktails.
Yeah, schnapps.
I knew these were my kind of girls. I knew it. She's in her rocking chair, and they're all talking, drinking their hot toddies, and she's playing the harmonica.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful. And
every year
we're like
it's
sniffling on the air, and I'm
Yeah.
choking, and oh my God, it is such a beautiful
we
thing.
will have him.
He will love that.
He will absolutely.
Now I
love
must
it.
say this.
We can record it too.
We could. He comes. Yeah, we can film it actually.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. He comes in November to do that show because it's Christmas time. We have to, do that, and he's not available. He lives in North Carolina. He flies
He
in.
flies
Really?
in
To come to our show.
Christmas.
Really?
So we're going to have an early celebration with you guys.
That's fine. That's
okay.
right in line with what we're hoping our grand opening will be. So
Right.
Fantastic.
Get on
That'd
in.
be terrific.
That'll be perfect. So we're going to come in, and everybody's going to get a story.
So it's funny because you think that people with dementia don't remember certain things. That's the perception, but a moment in time can mean something. So in my healthcare experience, I would return to an assisted living building that I had worked in. And every week I came, and, the residents had declined in a certain way, and some were now in a dementia building. And they were able to come in and out, in the regular assisted living side as opposed to the dementia area. And I would come, and they would ask me if I was back because they remembered me, and I'd say, no, I'm just visiting. And then they would tell me about their experience in being in the dementia area, but certain things that you would not think they would remember, they did, because they would all ask me about my personal life. Because while I worked with them, they became like my grandmas and my moms, and I became their daughter or their granddaughters. So those special things that were important to them, had they been my actual mom or grandmother, it was like having a whole community of that, because that would be the first question. They would grab my hand and want to see if there was a ring on it or where I was in my life. life. So it was kind of, warm and fuzzy when you would see everyone.
That is endearing.
That's
that
great.
is so beautiful. I love that.
When are you planning to open up this particular community on Alexander Road?
We are looking to open in the fall. Construction has to be completed, and we have to go through our survey process and inspections and all of that. So we're hoping to actually start, having our first residents move in, late October and November.
Love that.
Yeah.
However, people can make a commitment at this time to when we're opening, so that should not delay them from coming in and meeting with us, and they'll get to choose the apartment that they want and be ready for that time, and we can assist them in the meantime if they might need some assistance until then. So they really should stop in, set up an appointment with any one of us, and come and see what the community is going to be like.
Yeah.
Where is it that they would come and meet you? Could you give an address, a website, a phone number?
If they would give us a call at the sales office at 609-454-3360. I'll say it once again, 609-454-3360. We're at 731 Alexander, so just about half a mile down from the construction site.
That's wonderful.
We're on our way to filling our first neighborhood, so we're very delighted about that. The folks that have already put down a refundable deposit, and that's good for people to know at this point that it is refundable should anything change, because we're still a few months away from being able to move their loved one in. But we're on our way to filling that first neighborhood, and
That's wonderful.
We're very excited for the folks that we're working with so far.
That is so nice.
How did some of these people who are applying now, how did they know you were there and what you were?
We're first of all fortunate to be in such a visible location.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Yes.
Adjacent to the huge parking lot for the Princeton Junction train station, so we've got a lot of visibility. But we're also doing some advertising, and we're hosting some events.
So Cheryl, why don't you tell us when one of your up-and-coming events are?
Yes, we have a wonderful event for caregivers, July 26th. It's being held at the Doubletree Princeton on Route 1 at Ridge Road, and it's at 5:30. From 5:30 to 6, we'll have a lovely dinner buffet, and then 6 o'clock, our presenter, Susan Scanlon, will be discussing is it time to make a move to a senior care community? 10 questions to ask yourself. And we hear she's a wonderful speaker.
I'm sure she is. We're looking forward to it.
Wonderful.
Now, we have such a diverse neighborhood, but I'm sure your residents come from all over. Do you have people that maybe speak a couple of different languages?
Yeah, that's actually been a question that has come up already with some of the families that are inquiring.
Okay.
Which is just a matter of adjusting, and accommodating with the team members that we're bringing on.
Okay.
So there's we're not looking at that as being an obstacle at all, and we definitely want to be able to welcome from all walks of life into the community. But I also want to make sure that culturally, that the team members, that there's a connection there, especially with sometimes there's some language impairment with dementia. We want to make sure that they can communicate their needs to the best of their ability, and that our team is ready to be able to assist them.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, I do too. I would think if some people, patients have difficulty communicating, do you find that they may have, like a word for coffee, which might be baba or something like that, that you...
I have seen that. It's interesting. I had a resident many years ago who was, I think he was a merchant marine, and he discussed everything in terms of units. That's the way he spoke when he was in the military, and that was his word, really, for everything. It was, I'll have one of those units, and I can't find my unit, but we would know he was looking for something or trying to tell us something, and we would have to just figure out what unit was. So I think that does happen sometimes with people having, word finding difficulties, that they will zero in on a word that kind of is their catch-all.
And it seems to me, just from talking the past hour with you, that the employees, I don't. Is that
The
the right term?
associates?
Associates.
Yeah,
What is the
yeah.
the term?
Team.
The team.
What do we say? We're a team.
We're a team. That's
We're a
right.
team.
We just have a bigger team.
Yes.
That's right.
So I would imagine, the team members, as they get to know the residents, would get to know these little idiosyncrasies about people.
Yes,
and,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of having these small, self-contained neighborhoods. So there's consistency with the team members. Once again, we know as much as we can about this person, as much as we try to with them coming in the door. And then every single day, it's getting to know the more and more their habits. If body language. Sometimes they can't communicate that they're in pain, that they have a painful left arthritic hip. We have to watch for those things. And so that's having a well-trained team that's really in tune and connecting with the residents.
I love that.
Yeah, you said well trained.
Yeah.
Do you have your own training programs for the team members?
We do. So anybody that's being hired, there's an expectation right off the bat that they have to have, experience with dementia, Alzheimer's, memory care. But the structure is that everybody, all of the direct care folks, cooks, housekeepers, our life enrichment team, the CNAs, they all start on the first day together. So everybody's kind of has this experience of opening the building together and sharing in that experience.
Yeah.
And they go right into 5 straight days of training with our vice president of memory care, because people approach dementia differently. And we want to make sure that these folks are onboarded with our philosophy and with our approaches.
That is so amazing that you said that, because that is absolutely the truth. And a lot of people don't necessarily understand dementia, and this is something that I actually remember. My mother did not understand it. My grandmother had dementia. My grandmother would say something and my mother would correct her.
Yeah.
And and I would tell my mother, she doesn't understand, Mom. She doesn't get it. And, well, I'm telling her, well, Mom, no. And then the most unbelievably incredible thing, my mother got dementia. And, it was amazing. So it's so crucial that you understand that and their minds.
Right. And trying to talk somebody out of what they're experiencing in that moment
is impossible.
With any kind of analytical logic. It's not. So you're going to get that person upset. You're going to start an argument as far as a caregiver. So the staff really needs to understand, again, what our approaches are. And we want them to be trained, under our philosophy. So it's 5 straight days of orientation.
That is a beautiful thing. Oh, that makes me feel just warm all over. I love that.
Do you feel as though in many cases the family members need to be trained?
Probably.
I think that
Certainly have felt that many times.
So that was my next question, actually. Do you have that kind of, I would say, training available if somebody needed to see something and learn something a little bit about dementia?
I mean, we'll certainly have resources for the families.
Okay.
We're certainly going to have a support group.
That's
which I
that's
think will be
basically
really
what
helpful.
I'm asking.
And then one of our team members is the director of partnership development. And so her role and what the partnership is that everybody's partnering for this resident, the families, our team, outside companies that may come in for different things, vendors, so that we're all working towards the betterment of the quality of life for this particular person. So the partnership development person will be working very close with these families. It is a social worker, which is rare to have in an assisted living community usually.
Yeah.
So access to that person who works with the resident. And so if the family is having a difficult time with the, progression of the illness or communicating with their loved one, or there is that frustration or the agitation that, mom or dad is really irritable around me and now I'm stressed out. So we were going to have, people in the community that can work through those issues with the families.
That is so unbelievable. Do you guys have a website that people could reach out to you if they don't really? There are some people, and I've spoken to some of these people. Unfortunately, they're tired. They're upset. They just want to be able to get their thought out, via email as opposed to having a conversation. They just can't talk anymore.
Yeah, certainly. They're welcome to visit the Artis website. It's artisseniorliving.com. And they will see all of our communities listed, and go ahead and click on Princeton Junction, and we'd be more than happy to.
And how are you spelling Artis?
So it's Artis, Artis. No T on the end. People sometimes are hearing artist, but it's Artis, Artis.
And then seniorliving.com.
Seniorliving.com.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
I'm sure over the years, and you guys have many years experience. Have you ever come across a family who just wants to dump the problem?
Oh, yes.
And what do you do? What can you do?
I did. I had a family who I had been working with very closely through the move-in process of one of my communities. And the day that they moved their mom in, they came into my office and they said, you seem to be really knowledgeable as far as this population. What is the best way to tell mom that we're moving to Colorado this week?
Oh, dear.
Oh, my God.
Yes. So it was not, it was a shock to me. I had been working with them for weeks and weeks and weeks. It had not come up. So it was best for their particular dynamic to know that mom was in our building at the time and that they were going to go, and the son-in-law was getting a job transfer, and that's just how they were going to have it. So it's our resident. It's our responsibility. I mean, there needs to be an emergency contact family that we can reach out to if we had to. But it was
I
our
just feel
job to
sick.
take care of her.
Oh, my gosh.
So you
And we
guys
did.
become the family.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would think that you're the family also anyway, but they didn't want to see her again. I
mean, I wish it was our resident. So I mean, it does happen. There's families that, for whatever reason, I don't know if they can't handle it. I don't know.
I'll say this though. I never lose sight of the fact that we always walk in on Act 2 of this play. So we're seeing a resident who is kind and sweet-natured, and we never quite know what the dynamic was between the family member and our resident prior to placement. As sad as it is to hear some of these stories, but sometimes the fact that the family has located the very best place for their family member, they were well-intentioned enough to do that, but maybe the dynamic between them didn't allow for more than that. So you're right, we do become a surrogate family.
And I understand that. I understand that, but it's that just took me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, but like Cheryl said, they've at least put them in a good, safe, happy
Exactly.
place,
And they have
because,
peace of mind.
you know what, in my experience in the past, there are a lot of people who have not done that. So they are bringing someone and then you can never locate them again. You can never find them again. So this is a little bit different.
And we then are able with our team to fill in for their needs in all kinds of ways, and making sure they have what they need and staying in touch with the families. And I think that most families are still staying connected.
But surely they knew they were moving before that day.
It is a little questionable, yes.
Well, they might have been concerned that it's hard to know what goes through people's minds, right?
Yeah. And that's definitely an exception. It's not the normal family
not
that we
the
work
normal.
with.
Exactly right.
You asked the question.
It was a strange question. I never had that one before.
Well, Kelly now asks every family, "Are you moving out of state in the next couple weeks?"
I'm sure that's becoming a question now. Because, hey, when something like that happens,
I'm not going to be able to get through this. I'm sorry.
Where are we going? It's okay.
you can't ask the question. Tell me. Whisper it in my ear and I'll ask the question. Okay.
We know we're going to save an apartment for you and you'll be fine.
Take your time.
So I had a favorite aunt, and I had another aunt who was nobody's favorite.
There you go.
So,
Yeah.
oh, jeez, I'm so sorry.
Oh no.
So tell us about the favorite aunt, Anthony.
Is she the one with the corset?
That was Aunt B.
Oh, she wasn't the one with the corset?
No, that was Aunt Grace. So anyway,
They had a lot of ants.
she got dementia.
Yes.
So, God, I'm so sorry.
Will you stop? Just ask.
Why was she your favorite aunt?
She
Okay.
was just good.
She's a good person.
was just good.
And
She
you know
was
what,
just good.
Anthony? I'll stop you from I'll just interject till you're ready to share the rest of the story. But in a lot of times, so many times, I've seen nieces, nephews, a cousin, a great niece, just going to just such enormous efforts to make sure that their family member is well cared for. And I'll often say to them, she must have been a wonderful aunt. And they'll just get this just warm feeling and just be so happy to share. You have no idea how much she meant to me.
And that's so great when you have a family member like that.
Was a surrogate mother or another mother, really just so involved.
He has some great stories about a couple of his aunts.
And one day we hope to hear them.
Right? He's going to get it out. We're just going to have to talk around him for a couple of minutes. There you go.
I was going to have to do some good editing.
No.
But what happened was my not so nice aunt put her somewhere so far away that I never saw her again.
Oh my gosh.
That's so hard.
Yeah.
That's so
and she
hard.
had dementia, and so you couldn't see what this kind of thing does. Having these conversations with you, look where it puts you. It puts people. Every time I see you guys, I look at you guys and cry. But I love seeing you guys because I feel warm and happy, and knowing honestly that people are going to just be so lucky to be with you and to be so well taken care of by all of you and your team. And that's really a beautiful thing. That's what it's all about. Yeah. And believe me when I say, I so wish that I knew what Artis was when my mother and grandmother were alive.
And I understand that feeling. We're so grateful to have Artis to offer to people who are going through this experience. My grandmother was in a nursing home many years ago. I was in social work at the time, and I often think, boy, if I knew then what I know now,
and that is something
would have
amazing.
Been so different.
So the thing is that everybody who's listening right now, it's look at this. Look what you have.
But we move forward. We're so grateful that this type of community exists now. And if you think of the evolution of nursing homes and care facilities through the last few decades.
Institution word.
The institution word, the I word, that we've come so far. So
you okay, Anthony?
Perfect. Perfect what? I don't know.
What was your aunt's name?
B.
B. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
B.
for all the Aunt B's out there, there's a good place for families to bring their loved ones.
And what was the mean aunt's name?
Angie.
So Aunt Angie? Yeah, you're the mean one. Right. Okay. So for all the Aunt Angies out there, please bring the Aunt B's to Artis. Okay, that's what's important.
Do you know, Aunt B was such a good woman that her neighbor, who is our client, Ben, his sister,
Fran.
Yes.
I love her, yeah.
She named her daughter after Aunt B.
She must have been an exceptional lady.
Yeah.
Her daughter
is
Lily.
Right, Lily Beatrice.
Oh,
Beautiful.
okay. Yeah, I love that family. I know that family. I grew up with Fran.
Yeah, she was such a good woman. She raised bees. She had a bee farm.
Oh my goodness.
Aunt B raised bees.
Yes, she did.
Like, why not?
Why not? There you go. Why not?
Why not?
I'll tell you though, Anthony, you mentioned the distance that Aunt Angie, in her infinite wisdom.
But it wasn't like even in New Jersey. It was like 10
understand.
states over. What the hell
Isn't
was
that
she thinking?
something?
Well, Angie wasn't
we're not
thinking.
sure what she was thinking.
Angie wasn't
but
thinking.
I will tell you this: that we're for local families, we're in an ideal location, and I always think location does mean a lot.
It means
matters.
It means everything.
Sometimes people will make a different decision. Not everybody feels like everything is for them. We feel like Artis will be for so many. But, I never feel bad when we lose someone for location. That family really needs to be close enough to be able to make it work
And share
for them,
their
to
love.
stop by to see Mom or Aunt B more often, to take her out to lunch.
Right, I just spoke to someone on the phone, and having worked in a nursing home and assisted living, and now with Artis, the ability to come by and just have a cup of coffee with your loved one, and then not feel like they're staying longer than they want to, or it's a burden to come and visit, gives them the ability to pop in. They could pop in more than once. They could pop in after school with the grandchildren to, see grandma for 2 minutes and then continue with their sports and their athletics. But grandma still gets to see you.
And you get to see grandma. And that was what was so important when my grandmother was where she was. I was able to take my kids. My kids were pretty little. And after school, we could go before baseball, before karate, before, whatever it was. Perfect. We could run in and see my grandmother. And my grandmother was able to see them. So because of what you said before, Cheryl, in the moment.
Yes.
The moment was a beautiful one.
Sure. What I love, the more I get to know you guys and the more I get to know about Artis, the location, like you said, you could take a train, get off the train and walk.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You can take the turnpike, and 5 minutes from exit 8, you can take Route 1 corridor, and you're 2 minutes.
There.
Yeah,
no, this location is phenomenal for so many.
It absolutely
is.
So
let me ask you this then. So let's just say you did take a train and you came in, but your train was late and visiting hours were over. So I'm just curious,
the beauty is there are no visiting hours.
I love this.
Really, family and members are welcome at any time.
So that
was their home. They wouldn't have
visiting hours then.
Home.
Okay.
We're there 24 hours a day, and
I love that.
The building is staffed, and care managers would certainly be happy to let them in.
So where my grandmother was, there were visiting hours.
Yeah.
And I would work late sometimes, and I couldn't always get there. And fortunately for me, I had a friend in the building that I was able to get in any hour, but not everybody was.
Right.
So I could go in at midnight and watch her sleep and sing "You Are My Sunshine." Okay? But not everybody else could do that. And so I felt very blessed that I was able to. But I'm so happy that these families will be blessed that they could come over at 1 o'clock in the morning and sing "You Are My Sunshine" to their grandmother.
There you go.
I love that. That's great.
Well, I love these girls.
I love them too. I love them too.
That's awfully nice.
Thank you.
We'd like to thank Artis.
Artis, a place to live and grow for seniors with cognitive disorders, where empowerment, pride, and fulfillment define memory care.
You've been listening to Trend Radio, where we talk about what's hot every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. You want more? Go right to our website, 920thejersey.com. Click on demand and scroll directly to us.
And get the lowdown on getting down. Tune in to your bad girl inside you.
Or your bad boy.
Hey, listen each week. We've always got something sexy to say. You got any questions? Email us now at trendradio920@gmail.com. You'll be glad you did.
Remember, your smile is your logo. Your personality is your business card.
But how you make people feel? Well, that becomes your trademark.
I'm Elise.
And I'm Anthony Vincent.
We'll talk to you next week.
Bye for now.